I'm on the last page of your third packet regarding algebra review. And what we did a few days ago was we factored when there's only three numbers. And when there's only three numbers, you do product and sum. And that product and sum allows you to turn it into four numbers. And then once you have four numbers, you factor it by grouping, which means you put them into two groups and find the GCF of each group. So I'm on that last page. I'm just going to do the second question just to review. They give us one of the answers. We have to find the other one. And again, because there's three numbers, I start off with doing product and sum. Product is your first number times your last. So 7 times negative 18 is negative 126. And the sum is the number in the middle, which is negative 61. So you had to find two numbers that multiply together to give you negative 126, but then add to give you negative 61. I started off with dividing 126 by 2, and I got 2 and 63. If I make the 63 negative, those will add to give me negative 61, and those numbers will multiply to give me negative 126. So that's my pair. Once you find your pair, you replace the middle number with these two numbers. So I have 7x squared, but now I have 2x, negative 63x, and then minus 18. And then, now that I have four numbers, I put them into two groups of 2, and I take the greatest common factor of each group. So my first group, the greatest common factor of 7 and 2 is just 1. They both have an x. I'm going to bring out the smaller of the two. Now to figure out what's left in parentheses, 7 divided by 1 is 7. I have two x's here. I already brought one out of the parentheses, so there'd be one left over. 2 divided by 1 is 2. I have one x here. I already brought one out of the parentheses. That would mean there's none left over. Now for my second group, the greatest common factor of 63 and 18 is 9. Now the first number in my group is negative, which means I have to bring out a negative. And I don't bring out an x because they both don't have one. So now I'm going to divide. Negative 63 divided by negative 9 is positive 7, and I bring down the x. And negative 18 divided by negative 9 is positive 2. You know you did it right because these match. So one of your answers is the 7x plus 2, your matching pair. The other answers are your numbers out in front. So 1x minus 9. So looking back up here at the question, they gave us a 7x plus 2. They want to know what the other answer is. It was x minus 9. So that's just kind of a review of like what we did a couple days ago. Now we're just going to keep practicing. So in this next one, I have three numbers. So again, I'm going to start off with product and sum. The product is your first number times your last. My first number is 1. So 1 times 24 is 24. And the sum in the middle, the sum is your middle number, which is 11. So now you got to find two numbers that multiply to 24, but then also add to 11. That'd be 8 and 3. Now, once you find your pair, what we did up here is we're going to replace that middle number with these two numbers. However, there is a shortcut, and the shortcut only works when the first number is positive 1. If the first number is not positive 1, then unfortunately you do have to go through this long process to find your answers. There's no way around it. But if the first number is positive 1, I can just take this pair and go ahead and just drop them right into my parentheses. I'm going to use the letter R because that's what's in the question. So it's going to be R plus 8 and R plus 3. Those are my two sets of parentheses. That's my answer. That's it. You would get the same thing if you went ahead and replaced the middle number with these two and went through this process. But again, when the first number is 1, you can use this shortcut. So same with this next one, because there's three numbers, I have to start off with product and sum. The product is your first number times your last, so 1 times negative 15, which is negative 15. And the sum is 2. So now what two numbers multiply to give you negative 15, but add the 2, that'd be 5 and negative 3. Because 5 times negative 3 is negative 15, and 5 minus 3 is positive 2. Again, what you would do on a couple days ago was you would take these two numbers and replace the middle number. However, because the first number is a positive 1, I can go ahead and do the shortcut. And the shortcut means I just drop this pair into my answers. So I'm going to use x's this time. And it's going to be x plus 5 and then x minus 3. And there's your answers. But again, I just want to emphasize that this only works when the first number is 1. If it's not 1, like up here with 7, you have to go through this process. There's no way around it.